Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Gayle Carson. Welcome to Living Regret Free, a program that shows you how to live a better and more joyful life. As an added bonus, I invite you to listen to an introduction to my Mindset Matters program, which ties into this so well. Go to www.sobmindset.com. It's free, and I know you will enjoy it. If you'd like to contact me personally, drop me a line at gaylecarson13@gmail.com or go to my website, www.spunkyoldbroad.com, and sign up for my weekly newsletter. Hi, everybody. This is Gayle Carson, Dr. Gayle, SOB, going to be doing your program today on Living Regret Free. The reason I wanted to do this was I had a meeting of a mastermind group that I belong in, and they were talking about work-life balance. And the leader of the group said, there's no such thing as work-life balance. And I said, oh, yes, there is. It just is how you approach it. So I became the leader of the next week's session, the mastermind session on work-life balance. So I thought it would be a great discussion for us today on living regret-free, because work-life balance does exist, but it doesn't ever stay the same. And as you go through different periods of your life, your work-life balance changes. So I thought I would take you through my life to explain it. And then maybe you could look at your life and say, wow, I need to either make these changes, or I need to add here or subtract there. Basically, there are 8 phases of your life. They are education, career, family, financial, spiritual, community, physical, and leisure. So those are your 8 different quadrants. Now, when I first started out in business, when I was 21 years old, and I'm not going to talk about my life between 0 and 21, because that's a whole other issue as well. But when I was 21, I went into business, and 80% of my day was career, because I was building my business, and 20% was leisure. And leisure consisted of all the things I hadn't had a chance to do when I was growing up because I couldn't afford them. I learned how to roller skate, how to horseback ride. I learned to water ski. There were just so many things that I did. I also rented a piano 3 times a week because I did take piano lessons all of my life. So I did that for leisure as well. I took dancing lessons because I was a dancer, so I took dancing lessons twice a week. So there I was, 80% with career and 20% with leisure. And that's the way it went for the next couple of years. When I met my husband and I got married, I got an instantaneous family because he had 2 young children who we had custody of. And I got pregnant right away. So within 13 months of marriage, I had 3 children under the age of 7. And if you don't think that was a culture shock, it definitely was. So then it became probably more like 60% career because I was still building my business, 20%, probably 30% at that point, family, and 10% leisure, because then the leisure activities became what we did on Sunday with the kids. And we were a real water family. So we used to go, I had a beautiful red Volkswagen Beetlebug. And what we used to do was I put the baby in my lap because there were no lap seats, no car seats back then. And in the back seat was the playpen. And behind the playpen were the 2 younger kids. Older kids to my baby, but they were younger then. They were like, 7 and 8. And then in the with the sunroof that we opened were the water skis that picked up through the sunroof. And in the boat, in the back of the car was the cooler with the drinks and the sandwiches that I had made. And that was a whole issue in itself, the way I lined up those sandwiches. But that's what we did. And we were a real water family, and we enjoyed it. We had a good time. And that's how my life went for several years. And then as my business grew, I kept adding locations because I ended up with this business with 7 locations and 350 people. So it became career was then probably still 60% because I was building. A family was probably 20%. And then community became big. And community for me were professional organizations. So I became very active in the associations that were represented by my business, and became very active in becoming president of them and on the boards of them, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this went on, and of course, as the kids got older, things changed again, and education became a big part of what I was doing. And financial became a part because my husband liked to buy property, and he was a contractor. He could build things. So it became career, family, education, because I took a lot of courses and a lot of continuing education courses, financial, because we were building all the time towards our retirement and where we were going in the future. And of course, I also became very active in the community, as I said, professional organizations and physical. But leisure took a back seat to a point because my business was growing, and I was not really active spiritually. Then it became a time when the kids left home, and it was just my husband and I. And since I was now doing global speaking and global consulting and traveling around the world, I did speak and work in 50 countries and 49 states, so I was on the road a lot. It became career probably 50% because I was kind of on automatic pilot. I didn't have my schools anymore. I had sold my other business, which included a talent agency and a convention service company. And I went ahead and really became much more active in education. I got my doctorate. I still to this day attend webinars all the time, now doing them, of course, through Zoom and so forth. But it was really less family and less career and more physical activity. I became a Silver Sneakers Award winner. It became more education. I attended a lot of conferences and a lot of continuing education courses. Still active in the community, financially still involved. Leisure activities became more my husband and I going out to dinner, maybe going to a movie, going to the theater, or something like that. When my husband passed away 12 years ago, it changed again. My career became far less important to me. And family became different because my kids were living in places I was not. My education continued. My leisure activities really came down. My physical activities continued because I was a big workout person, still am. My community activities lessened, but I was still involved, more as a mentor and a guide, but I became more spiritual. And that was because of my son. My son hired a spiritual coach for me. I became aware of what could be. And so I became much more involved spiritually, not so much financially anymore. And as of late, I've turned everything over to my son. I am not at all financially oriented at this point. I mean, I like to have money to do the things I want to do, but on the other hand, I can't do a lot right now with the pandemic. And isn't it interesting? I'm spending far less money because I'm not going out to lunch. I'm not going out to dinner. I'm not going to the theater. I'm not traveling to all these conferences, which are now all virtual. So it's interesting how money flow has changed as well. So what I'm trying to get across to all of you who are listening is this is life, and this is how you live, and it's continually changing. And what is good for me is not good for you, and what is good for you is not good for someone else that you know who you may be trying to change to be who you are. So I want to go over these things again, one by one, so that you actually know where you're going with this. First of all, let's talk about your career. If you're in the beginning of your career, it's going to take up a much bigger part of your time. If you are in business for yourself, it's going to take up a majority of your time. So you have to decide, how is that going to look? Is that going to look that I get up earlier and stop earlier so that I can spend time if I have a family? Does this mean that I'm alone and I can work 24/7? Is that healthy for me? Is that what I like to do? Or is this something that I think I need to restructure? The second part is family. Who is your family? Even if you're not married, if you're single, you may have a mom, you may have a dad, you may have a sister, a brother, cousins. So who is your family? And those of you who may not have those people in your life, maybe there are people who are in your social circle who are your good family. But how much time are you going to devote to them? And remember something else when you talk about family, and that's the point that when you're looking at what's going on and what's happening, family is really important in terms of you know, having some support system. For example, I live in a high rise, and I don't know a lot of people here. I certainly say hello to a lot of people, but there's a woman who's a floor below me who has taken on the responsibility of giving me certain meals. She likes to cook for me. So I just certainly don't need her to cook all my meals. But for example, she will make certain things. She'll call up and say, I'm making this. Do you want it? And if it's something I like, I say yes. And if it's something I don't like, I say no. There's a woman at the end of the hall who on the first days of the pandemic, I opened up my door and I didn't even know her at all. And at my door were 24 rolls of toilet paper, a bunch of gloves and antiseptic things and so forth. And I didn't even know her, but she did it. I don't know how she knew who I was, but she did it. And then one time when my cat got stuck in the bookcase, as some of you may know, I don't know if you follow my cats, but she had her legs stuck in the bookcase and screaming a mile a minute, scratched me to death. But she was really in pain. And I went to my neighbors and I got tools, and they came and helped, and they dismantled my bookcase and got her out. And these are people that I really didn't know, but I just went banging on their doors. So they can be your family. And then financial. A lot of people are going through financial stress right now. I mean, they're not getting a paycheck, they're not working, they have no money coming in. It's difficult, and you need to plan for that. What's going to happen if 5 years from now something else happens? I mean, we went through the Big Depression in 2008, and everybody had a tough time then. Many people lost their homes. I know I had difficulty at that time. That was the year my husband passed away, and I always said if he had not passed away from what he did, the real estate crisis probably would have killed him, because he was a firm believer in real estate. So look at your financial situation. How long can you exist without money coming in? What are the multiple streams of income that you might be able to create? Even if you're in a job, can you put a certain amount of money away each week, even if it's $10? I mean, I remember when I started out, when I was 21, there were no credit cards or anything. And to build credit, I used to go to different stores and buy clothes and put them on layaway. And every week I would go in and pay my $10 or my $20. And that's how I built up my credit. So even if you take $10 a week, you don't think it's much, but it is something, and it allows you to get through. Can you negotiate with your landlord in terms of rent, or your mortgage company? So financially, you need to be aware, you need to be smart, you need to be saving, you need to be prepared. And no matter what your situation is, whether or not you are employed, or whether you are self-employed, or whether you are someone who is, on a low-paying scale versus a high-paying scale, you still need to be financially savvy. Then we talk about your education. Your education is important. Now, some people who work for other people say, well, this is my job, I don't need to learn anything more. But if you are not educating yourself, whether it's by reading, or whether it's by going to online seminars, or whether it's going to conferences in your particular profession, whatever it happens to be, education is important. And it could be in areas just to make your life better, to become more successful, or to think positively, or mindset programs. But education is very important. And even though I've gone about as far as I can go with a doctorate, I'm the only woman in the world who has 4 designations. An education, I have a doctor of education. I'm a certified speaking professional, which is a CSP. I'm a certified management consultant, CMC, and I'm a fellow to the Institute of Management Consultants. And I'm the only woman in the world that has all those 4 designations. Now, I always joke and say that in a nickel will buy me you know what, but I'm still all the time looking to get better. So you need to be continually stimulating your mind. As I say, I don't care if it's reading a book. Every day, 20 minutes. Take 20 minutes and read a book, and read biographies. They're wonderful, and they'll show you how many times people have failed before they've been successful. So biographies are really, really important things to read. Now, if we go on to leisure activities, this is what makes your heart sing. What do you like to do leisurely? Now, I told you I'm a big workout person, so I do like to do that. And I'm not doing the things I used to do, like water ski and swim and so forth. Even though I'm on the water where I live, I'm not doing it for a number of physical reasons. But the point is, I do keep active, and I do enjoy that. Up till the time of the pandemic, I was going to movies, I was going to the theater, I was going out to lunch and dinner. Those are my leisure activities. Now, my leisure activities is calling my friends who I don't see anymore because I am immune compromised. So I don't see them, and I talk to them on the phone, or I talk to them through Zoom, or we FaceTime, or do things like that. But it's also comforting for them because they're lonely as well. So leisure activities at this point may be taking a shape a little differently. If you are, compromised at home, and you've got kids, you're doing backyard things, maybe the swimming pool, the kiddie pool. If you have pets, they're out there with you, sometimes in the pool as well. I saw the most adorable video on, the Twitter cute animal find tweets where there were 2, I think they were golden retrievers, swimming. And on the top of one of the golden retrievers was one of the little tiny dogs, Chihuahua. And the Chihuahua never, ever got wet, just sat on the top of the back of this retriever who went swimming. And so there's all kinds of leisure activities that you can do with your pets, with your kids, with your family, even if you're not seeing your friends. So leisure is very important as well. And community. Now, people are volunteering in their community to hand out food, to work in the food banks, to help out in hospital situations or assisted living facilities, etc. So there are community activists in that particular way. You can also still be active with your professional organizations by being active on their Zoom calls, by being part of their education series, and by networking with other peers that you have in the same profession. So that's community, and that works well as well. And of course, we get to the spiritual, and the spiritual is whatever it means to you. It doesn't mean religious. It means spiritual. It means in tune with what's going on. It means in tune with your neighbors and yourself and your friends. And it's looking to the positives of life. It's looking to what can be, not what is. And it's living in reality, but it's also, rather than waking up and saying, oh boy, how bad this is waking up and saying, what can I do to make it better? So those are the 8 areas: career, family, financial, spiritual, community, physical, leisure, and education. And you have to decide how you want to live your life. And it is continually changing. I know that once the pandemic is through, my life will change again, because a lot of the things that I was going to do, like speaking at conventions, and I can still coach people because we coach on Zoom, but speaking at conventions has become all virtual, and they are being done totally differently. The convention that I was supposed to speak at in March of this year will be in March of next year, and I say maybe because who knows what it'll be by then. So everything is going to change again, and I will have to shift what my priorities are at that particular point, because I live in a couple of different places. I live in California and in Florida, and I left California after finishing the New Media Summit, where I was one of the icons for podcasting, and people came there, 150 of them, to pitch us to get on our shows, just like this show that I'm doing for you today. And I left on a Saturday and fully expecting to come back a week later to speak at a group. And that Sunday, I mean, they were talking about it on the plane, because I remember taking a disinfectant with me and wiping down everything around me. But still, it wasn't what it is now. There were no masks mandated or anything like that. And I got here, and on Sunday, they closed everything down. And I have been here since then. So going into my 24th and 25th week of self-isolation, and have missed an entire spring, have missed an entire summer, but it's okay. And so, you know, it's going to look different when everything comes back. And that's why I want you to think about not the mess that you may be in right now, but the great place you're going to be when this is all over. And so I want you to think about this. And so let me tell you some of the ways that you can reach me. If you just want to have a conversation about this, that's fine. Number one, you've got my website, which is spunkyoldbroad.com. If you want to take one of my online courses, then you can go to sobuniversity.com. And the courses are all there and explained. If you want a coffee cup from SOB, or one of our t-shirts or leggings or hoodies, or one of my courses that or books that are on the store, it's store. Well, it's https://store.spunkyoldbroad.com, but you can find that on the website as well. And if any of you are over 50, you can go to my virtual SOB club on Facebook.com, which is under groups, and it's sobvirtualclub.com. I have, I think almost 350 women now in my club, hoping to get to 1,000. So if that fits you, I'd love to see you there. And if you'd like a free gift, I have a wonderful gift for you. I don't know how many of you are interested ever in being on the media or in the media, but if you are, I have some media tips for you, and you can get those. And these are a gift, free. You don't have to do anything. Is www.sob6tips.com. www.sob6tips.com. So if you're interested in any of those things, you can go there and find out about them. And, you know, the most important thing to me is for you to live the life you want, the life you deserve, and the life that is meaningful to you. It doesn't have to be meaningful to me or to anybody else. It has to be meaningful to you. And it's interesting because in order to join my SOB club, I ask two questions. What's your biggest joy and what's your biggest pain? And interestingly, most of the biggest pains have been pain. I mean, the bad knees, the bad back, you know, the bad whatever. So it's really, you know, things like coming from arthritis and so forth. But the interesting thing is in the biggest joy. And in the biggest joy, it has been either grandchildren or the fact that they don't care what people think of them anymore. The freedom to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, and how they want to do it. And I think that's great. I love it. However, I don't want you to have to wait 50 years to do that. I want you to be able to say, you know, I'm living the best life I can live right now. And that's how I have felt all of my life, is that, you know, you can live the best life that you can live. And just as a sideline to those of you who may or may not know me, right now I'm going through my 4th case of breast cancer. I am on chemo, I'm on radiation, and I go every day for my radiation. I only have a couple more days to go. But my chemo is, you know, I take that, I'm doing it through pills now because I did do an infusion, but now I'm doing through pills. And, but I'm still living the life I want to live. And that's the whole key to everything, is living how you want to live. So again, when I finished this mastermind session with my group, and then the leader then came back on and said, We all have a Tiffany box. You know, if you got a gift from Tiffany in that blue box, you could put almost anything in it and you'd believe that it was from Tiffany's, because Tiffany's box, the blue box, is a symbol. So we were asked, what is our blue box? What's in our blue box? And I could not figure out what my blue box was. I thought, well, I guess the biggest thing in my blue box is my friendship. I'm friendly to people and I do for people. And the leader came back on and said, no, Gayle, your blue box is knowing how to live. You have known how to live your entire life. And as I've thought about it since that, because that was about a week or 2 weeks ago, I thought to myself, you know, I really did. I have had a wonderful life. So I just want to encourage all of you who are listening to Living Regret Free. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll look at the 8 areas of your life. I hope you'll look at the different things that I've talked about and say, how can I adjust this? And maybe what's going to work for this month won't work for next month. What's working for this year won't work for next year. What's working for this time that we're in won't work for when we're out of it. But you can have a work-life balance if you utilize these 8 different areas during your lifetime in various proportions. So I just want to say thank you for listening. It was wonderful to be with you today. I'm just so pleased that I could talk with you. And again, if there's anything I can do for you, just go to my website, spunkyoldbroad.com, fill in the contact sheet, tell me what you'd like to know, and I'll get back with you. Thanks so much for listening.
Hi, this is Dr. Gayle, and I wanted you to know I have a whole bunch of other things to offer you. If you go to spunkyoldbroad.com, you will see an array of SOB stuff for sale and all our latest products and additions. If you're interested in getting on TV, I have a brand new course, Get on TV. And if you want to start your own business, you'll want my SOB Guide to Business Success. I know you'll love them all. I guarantee it.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. I choose my guests carefully, so if you have someone you'd like me to interview, please drop me a line at gaylecarson13@gmail.com. In the meantime, check out my intro program, Mindset Matters, at www.sobmindset.com. See you next week.